and I can't put my fingers in my eyeballs anymore.
Right? I've never been able to do it. I was like, who can touch their eyeball? That's insane.
It's an acquired taste.
Yeah, sure.
Can you taste your eyeball after you do that?
Hey, man.
I mean, I guess if you didn't touch your eye and then touch your tongue, yeah.
Yeah, touch your eye and then just lick your finger.
Yeah, touch your butt and then touch your eye and then, all good stuff. Actually, I had
Yeah, pink eye.
I had a fucked up cornea infection earlier this year, and the optometrist was like, I don't even know what happened. He's like, I've never seen this before. I was like, oh, fantastic.
So I'll be sure to cut that stuff.
Love new diseases.
Yeah. Well, what a world, huh?
So, yeah. Do you need me to do anything, or are you just recording it on your end? Or
I'm recording the Zoom. At one point in the show, I will appear to freeze. I will be able to hear and see everything you guys say and do, but I'll have an awkward face.
It's inevitable, and I will screenshot it.
It happens every show, and for whatever reason, it takes about 6 to 8 seconds, and it clears itself up, and then we flow right after that.
Usually looks like this.
Yeah, it's. I live with New York Italian, so I talk with my hands a lot.
I was going to say, do a lot of talking with your hands.
I've picked that up over there. Well, plus I taught middle school for a decade, so keeping their attention involves lights and fireworks and
explosions and boobs.
Big gestures. Yeah, I didn't have any boobs, so still don't.
Luckily, still don't.
Not approaching 40. Don't quite have man boobs yet. So, welcome, Brad.
Sound familiar?
Recording? Is this the start of the show? Or?
Pretty much.
I generally start recording early just in case Ross tells a super awkward story that I can leave in. But tonight I feel like it was me, so I'll probably cut it out.
Yeah.
If Ross would like it leaved in, he can start editing the show.
Fair enough.
Wise.
I'll refrain from the awkward stories for now.
So no, this is pretty much. Well, I have a thing I say. I say, welcome to the show. I say, I'm Chris. He says he's Ross. And then you get to say, you're Brad, Bradley. Whichever name you refer to yourself as is what we go with the rest of the show. So
okay. Sounds good.
We had a Jonathan a couple weeks ago, but it was like, well, he had like all three names. So it was like Jonathan, Claire, Miller. And we were like, tell us what to call you.
So my parents divorced when I was 2, and then my mother remarried someone whose last name is Bradley.
Oh,
you could have been Bradley.
So you could have been Bradley.
Yeah. If I had been adopted, I would have been Bradley.
My story's not nearly as cool as that. There was a girl when I was in the 3rd grade. Her first name is Tracy. My last name is Tracy. So she spent the entire year of 3rd grade going like, hey, we're getting married, right? She wanted to be Tracy. And I was like, you can change your name to whatever you want. Like, you don't have to marry me.
Just wait like 15 years, go downtown court, you're good. It's like that musician who, probably not his real name, but I think he goes by Philip Phillips. It's like, okay, we get it.
Bradley would be pretty sweet.
Yes. So very informal. We just kind of roll into it, and then
cool.
Bullshit.
I'm ready whenever y'all are.
Welcome to the Off the Road Again podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Ross.
And I'm Brad Brownell. Not Bradley.
Not Bradley.
So now I have to leave that in to have some explanation.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes it easier. It's less things to cut out. So tonight, as always, we were social distancing before it was mandated. Ross is on the East Coast. I'm in Kansas City. And Brad is Mountain Time Zone, Nevada?
No, Pacific. I'm actually further west than Los Angeles.
What? Really?
Yeah. Yep.
All right. I feel like
the coast of the country cuts in.
Yeah, it cuts in. Yeah. So you're like northern Nevada and west.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
This show has given me a very good geography lesson.
I feel like if you're going off-road, you probably should know geography pretty well.
That's fair. Oh, yeah.
We have had a number of conversations where Ross has then pulled up Google Maps and gone, huh,
Well, I mean, a couple of those conversations were like Tierra del Fuego, you know?
Yeah, of how far east Tierra del Fuego actually is.
Exactly.
I'm in Reno, Nevada. It's very smoky here today because all of California is on fire.
Well,
Again, really?
Yeah.
California's on fire west of you. Colorado's on fire east of you. Like,
yeah, apparently there was something like 1,700 lightning strikes yesterday.
yeah, I was just looking at that.
Jesus.
And like 300 of them started forest fires.
They
So
actually have a term for it. They called it a lightning siege.
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly. So yeah, everything's on fire west of me, and we live in a valley, so it all comes over the mountain and then settles down into the valley, and it'll be here for a month.
Air quality,
So,
no bueno.
Yeah, it's real bad, and I'm asthmatic, so that doesn't help.
Oh God, yeah, that's
Staying
not good.
indoors as much as I can.
With the air filters.
Yeah, for multiple reasons.
Yeah.
So, I don't have any personal updates other than the fact that I'm still trying to sell my 1994 Toyota Land Cruiser. Anybody's interested, give me a call. It's a great shape.
It's in shape.
Ranwen Park. No, it's not. I'm not going to do all that.
Sounds Radwood appropriate.
It is very Radwood
certainly.
appropriate. I thought about Austin and going down, but then like it just didn't.
Man, Austin was such a great show, and it sucks so bad that it was the last one. Like, we planned 12 shows this year, and we got to do one.
Because Austin was like February?
February, yep.
Okay.
It was the last weekend of February, and then I drove to Atlanta and flew home.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the very beginning of March. And when it was just like starting to come in. And then I left the van in Atlanta at my dad's house and then flew home and then couldn't get the van again because I wasn't going to fly back across the country to get it. So we ended up having to have the van full of all of our stuff shipped across the country. And it was a gnarly situation. I mean, all of our merch was in the van. Like, we couldn't sell anything online for a while. It was just like we had to refund like 20,000 tickets.
Oh man. That's heartbreaking.
We had pre-sold like 4 shows, or well, 2 plus a third one was just coming up. So we had a bunch of like just gate tickets, like not cars. We didn't have 20,000 cars, obviously, but for New Jersey and South Carolina, all of those were just, So we still have people that are like, well, I didn't cancel my ticket because I was expecting you guys to reschedule, but it's looking like that's not going to happen. So can I get my ticket back? And we're like, yeah, I mean, obviously, of course.
Yeah.
But we hope that people hang on to those tickets because they will be redeemable at any future Radwood whenever they are able to happen again.
So we should probably introduce you.
Yes.
Most of our audience will know who you are already, but Brad is part of the head of Radwood. How's that?
We have 4 co-founders. We were all in it together from the very beginning, from the very first show in 2017. And I'm one of them.
And the other 3 guys are most of Driving While Awesome?
So it's Rick Deacon, which he doesn't have a podcast anymore, but he was
he was a DWA guy. Oh, it was Clutch Kick.
Yeah, he was Clutch Kick.
And then Lane and Art from Driving While Awesome are the other 2 co-founders. So
sweet. So you're also a journalist, author.
You
write things.
Yes, I try not to use the J word because most of what I do
sounds so bad.
Most of what I do is entertainment writing, not really like investigative journalism.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But yes, I write for Jalopnik.com. I edit and write flat6s.com, which is a Porsche specific site, and co-founded Radwood. So those are my 3 day jobs, I guess.
You're also a Hooniverse alum.
I am. I wrote for Hooniverse for like 7 years, and I had a great time. I owe a lot of where I am to that site. Built my voice there, and had a podcast there for 4 years.
Is that
Camden Tubbs podcast?
Camden Tubb, okay.
I was on that a couple times, actually, now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
I think the first time I was on your show, I had just had back surgery and was like
You were like
over the place.
Yeah. I remember that.
More than usual.
Dude, they gave me a bunch of strong drugs. It was a nightmare.
It was
I think
fun.
I apologized before and after, and then continued to do so like the next time I was on.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So-
you've certainly, you not to use the phrase "been around," but you've seen some stuff and written for some pretty reputable
I've
sites.
seen some stuff, man.
Yeah, man.
I've seen some stuff.
You've also gotten
Now
around
we're
the country
not
pretty
vets.
good too.
Yeah, I do like to do road tripping. I mean, I did just for Radwood last year. I did 36,000 miles
Oh, Jesus.
on the road, and that was in. Yeah, I guess it was from Austin to Austin, so it was just over a year.
Wow.
We got a Honda minivan, Odyssey, and that was our travel across the country, bring all the merch, bring the pop-up tents, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Is the Odyssey the new Cadillac of minivans?
I actually really liked it. I thought it was a really good van. I had one minor gripe was that the armrest on the driver's side, it's one of those that folds down from the
Part of the
seat,
seat, yeah.
and it was too narrow.
Okay.
So my elbow didn't really fit on it because I'm kind of a wide guy. So my elbow didn't really fit on the armrest. I kind of could make it work. I cobbled something together and made it work. And I would just put a backpack on the center console and put a pillow over the top of it, and then I would have a really big, nice, comfortable armrest. But anyway, so they redesigned the armrest for the 2021 model year, and it's
They were
wider.
listening.
So, they fixed it.
Somebody
The
took
one
notes.
problem that I had with the van, it's fixed. So it's the perfect car now.
Does it have the vacuum in the back?
It did have the vacuum in the back.
Honda sucker.
Yes.
Oh, so good.
I did a ton of miles last year. I've done a ton of miles in my, I don't really have a daily driver, but I guess you could call my 76 Porsche 912E my daily driver. And I've done
Which
30
you have a nickname for that car.
the Loud Banana. Yeah.
A loud banana. Yep.
Sadly, that's going to go away because I'm actually talking to somebody about building an exhaust for it. But
So it'll just be a
So
banana.
just the
it'll just be
banana.
the banana, yeah.
Just
but
banana.
I've done cross-country road trips in that. I've probably logged 32,000 miles, I think, in 4 years.
Oh, wow.
In that car. So
Oh,
I try and drive it as much as I can.
Mhm.
I don't really
Wasn't
have a
there-
commute. So the thing about Reno is we're down in a valley and everything's self-contained. So if you're going anywhere in the city, it's less than 25 miles away.
Okay.
So if I go for a drive, it's either 10 miles or 1,000. There's no in between.
right.
There's no medium one tank of gas trip.
Right.
But you're
And
also
that
putting a
car-
lot of, you're doing a lot of bike rides too now.
I have been, yeah. I've been trying to do a lot of motorcycle stuff. It helps me clear my head because there's no way to contact me when I'm if I'm driving a car and somebody calls me, I can still pick up the phone. I can run it through the Bluetooth
It's
or
true.
whatever. But if I'm on a bike, I'm not answering that call.
Yep.
I'm not, looking at text messages or anything. I don't recommend doing that in a car either. But I know people do it.
Cannot advise.
But on a bike, it's just me, some music, and the road, and I just pick a really good route and go for 3-4 hours and come back, and my head feels much better, especially these days. It's kind of like therapy.
Yep.
We did a similar trip last weekend where we drove out to Western Kansas and back, but it was a long day. But again, at a certain point, you don't have cell coverage, and you're not looking at it.
Yeah.
Spent 10 hours in the car, but I was tired, but my head felt so much better. The weight had been lifted.
Yeah. I've actually started doing something called screen-free Sundays, where I try not to look at my phone, look at my computer, or the television.
Mhm.
The racing season started back up, so it's a little harder to do these days.
Yeah, block out 2.5 hours on Sunday mornings now.
I'm definitely not going to
Oh,
miss
man.
the
It's
Indy
really
500
early
this
for you.
weekend. But
F1, what time do you wake up to watch F1? 5?
6.
6?
Yeah, 6.
Yeah,
So that's
This weekend there was the 6 hours of Spa, and I
Yeah.
had to start that at 3:30. in the morning, so that was fun.
Stay up, pull an all-nighter.
Yeah, right. I'm too old for that now.
I haven't done it since college, so I don't know what I'm talking about.
I have 4 kids, so I let everything go to the DVR, and then I don't look at my phone. So I generally don't see results, but I can get to the race when I get to the race, which Sunday for me, the Spanish Grand Prix started at like 8 o'clock at 8 p.m.
10.
Because that's when I got to it finally.
Yeah. So yeah, that's bikes are kind of my new thing. I've been riding. I did some off-road riding when I was a kid, 4-wheelers and dirt bikes and that kind of stuff. Kind of stopped for a while, and then when I was in Atlanta, I lived there for a couple of years, and I was fresh out of college, and I graduated in 2009, like right at the height of the recession.
Crash. Yeah.
So I had not very much money, and my job sucked. So I was like, well, my car just died, so I'm going to buy the cheapest thing that I can to get back and forth to work. And it was a scooter, or it was a 1983 Honda 2-stroke 50cc motorcycle. So it wasn't a scooter; it was technically a motorcycle.
Yeah. In name only.
I rode that every day for a year while I was trying to save up for literally anything.
How many cc's did you say?
50. Yeah.
Okay.
What kind of commute was
it? Had 6 forward gears, and
it's not the little mini bike thing, is it?
It's the MB5.
Okay.
Is what it is.
I need to add new
1983 MB5.
Oh,
Great
hell
bike.
yeah. That's awesome.
Great bike. It was so much fun.
It looks so skinny on the front end. Like
it is.
The space between the front wheel and the engine is huge.
Yeah.
You weren't on like highways with that, were you?
No. It topped out at like 53. My job was 2.5 miles from where I lived.
Okay, 53 on that seems fucking terrifying.
It was. I think I topped out at like downhill with a backwind of like 62, and that's on a 2.5-inch wide Michelin. So
Did you have the 3-spoke wheels as well? Like, were you already that Radwood era?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
OG.
I've been Radwood my whole life. That's right.
That's fantastic.
So I've never actually owned a newer car than 97.
What was the 97?
That's the Boxster that I have right
now. The Boxster?
What about the Buick?
That's my wife's car.
Oh, okay.
Your name's not on it yet.
Yeah. I mean, my name's probably on it, but like,
probably.
That's her car. I don't really drive it. I don't have a commute. I don't need a modern car. That's her car.
So since you bought that, and I've seen more and more of them, even though GM has killed it, they're no longer making them. But like, there's like 4 or 5 around my area that I would say like twice a week I see one.
Buick Regal Tour X is a great car. I really, really like it. That's another car we've put a ton of miles on. It's at almost 30,000 miles, and we bought it at the end of 18, December of 18. So we've almost had it 2 years.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
We put miles on.
There's there's a guy on I can't remember if it's the Miata forum or if I saw it on Reddit, but he's got a black Torex lowered with like all the Opel badging.
I've seen it. Yep.
It's awesome. Like
that's
awesome enough that
plan.
Like immediately I went to like Car Gurus and was like, I wonder how much I can get one of these for now because it looks awesome.
That's the long-term plan. Is we have not too many miles left on the warranty, and then it'll get a tune and wheels and lowered, and it'll be. I'm gonna get rid of all of the black, the cladding. Plastic cladding. Yeah.
So you got the Buick, and then you bought a trailer. Do you still have the trailer?
Still have the trailer. Traveling is a little bit difficult right now, so I don't really want to be on the road. We've talked about going camping for a week, just kind of isolating in the middle of nowhere, taking a week off of work and just going to Yellowstone or something. Like just
how far is that from you?
10, 11 hours, something like that.
Okay. So day trip.
Yeah, day trip. Yeah. We could go for a week, and not lose too much time on the front and back end. And so we've talked about doing that. It's still not quite finished. We're still working on the interior, and we've still got some buttoning up to do. These projects always drag on, but
it's not a project if it doesn't.
Right. But I did all of the exterior work. It's got all new seals. It's got the solar. It's got the vent fan. Put a new refrigerator in it. That kind of stuff. So it's almost ready for prime time. If we were to spend a good 3-day weekend, it could probably be done pretty quickly. But of course, I've torn into 2 of my other cars, and I can't.
When you did the garage too, didn't you? Like you insulated the garage?
Yes, insulated the garage, painted the floors, moved into a new house. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You've been
all
busy.
the time that the trailer has been saying, "Please finish me."
Yeah, right.
So how much does that thing weigh?
1,000 pounds.
Yeah,
it's 1,000.
Is it the 13-foot one? It's a smaller
13 foot.
one.
13 foot. It's a 1976 Scamp.
So my favorite thing about that is literally the new ones look the same.
Yes, They still make them. So do you know where they got the mold for that fiberglass shape?
NASA?
No.
Okay.
It's an upside down septic tank.
What?
Yeah.
I was going to say holy shit, but that would have made too much sense. It looks like it. Now that you say it, I mean.
It was initially it was a Canadian company that figured it out. They were like already making that mold. Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh, let's just put wheels on it, and it's a little trailer.
It's funny.
So
should paint it brown.
Do they have to cut in the wheel wells then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I would have probably guessed hot tub or tiny in-ground pool or something like that. I guess they're all effectively the same shape.
Yeah. Yeah. And they make a couple of different ones. They make a 21 foot, which is a third or fifth wheel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Style. And then there's a 16-footer and a 13-footer. Ours is a 13.
Dude, I have 4 kids, and as much as we want to get out, I'm very much leaning towards travel trailer, as opposed to a one RTT on top and trying to
I still throw the kids on the ground and get a tent for yourself.
Yeah, you could do that.
I could, but then I'd have to listen to all of the crap that I would have to there are easier options, but I'm very intrigued by travel trailers. And so
they make some really cool off-road travel trailers that
they sure do.
They're big money, but they're really cool.
Oh, so, their house or down payment for house money.
Yes.
Right.
Which isn't a problem for you. You have a house, but
on our trip out and back to Western Kansas, everything we passed was literally a pickup truck towing a trailer.
Yeah.
And so I just started writing down trailer names. I'll go look them all up later. Come to find out, 3 companies make everything.
Yep. That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Winnebago, Forest River, and somebody else. That's it.
Yep. Even Airstream is part of a bigger conglomerate that makes all these travel trailers.
And every time I passed an Airstream, I was like, God, there goes $90,000.
Oh, absolutely. That's the thing that's crazy about it. We were looking for an Airstream, but they were too heavy to tow with the Buick, and they're too expensive. I mean, a halfway decent one is $37,000 for
that's fucking crazy.
Nothing
for the tiny one.
Yeah. But if you can swing it, you can swing it.
No solar, no off the grid. It's all shore power, so you have to go to certain campgrounds and all that. So at that point, what's the point?
Right. Might as well just stay in a hotel.
Yeah. If anybody wants to do it, Forest River makes 30 different 20 or 30 different brands of trailer.
I mean, the amount of money that you would spend on a good Airstream would get you a lot of nights in hotels.
And a really nice rig to get you from hotel to hotel.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy. I'm on Craigslist, the local Craigslist. There's a 2-year-old used Airstream for $76,000.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And like money doesn't mean anything anymore. People just, finance it and they're whatever. I'm only
Rates
paying
are low.
$500 a month for it. I only use it 3 months of the year, but
Yep.
But it's so we recently had Johnny Lieberman on, and that was his exact. He's like, money doesn't matter anymore because people just like what were the stats? I think he was talking about like Porsche stats, like their average 911 owner makes
$600
or $700,000 a year, and so like, what's a $250,000 Porsche? Like it comes out to be like $2,000 a month for a lease payment. They don't care.
Yeah.
Nope. Irrelevant. Effectively irrelevant. Meanwhile, here we are.
Back in the real world.
In the real world.
We drive old stuff.
I write about cars for a living. I don't have $250,000 to drop on a Porsche.
Nope.
So,
but you have one. So I mean,
you have taken it in the dirt.
You have two.
I have three. I have a 944, a Boxster, and a 912E.
Oh, I forgot about the Radwood 944.
Yep.
That one hasn't seen dirt, and the Banana has. Right?
Yeah.
At least for that photo. I remember the photo shoot.
No, that actually the Rad 44 has seen dirt. Very, very lightly, but it has.
Okay.
Like we do Coastal Range Rally with
Yeah.
So they have like, it's technically a road, but it's pretty gnarly dirt roads.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean it's not like you're not traversing boulders or anything, but it's like pretty gnarly dirt that you wouldn't take a normal car.
It's like a fire road. Like
sure, yeah.
Like a fire road in bad shape.
But the 912E has been out in the desert and done donuts in the middle of nothing, and I actually have that up here on my wall. You can't see it, but
those pictures were awesome.
Whoa.
Yeah,
that's good.
That one's fantastic.
And then I've gone like dirt camping in it, and the Boxster doesn't really see dirt now. That's got 13-inch wide rears that wouldn't do very well in dirt.
Well, and the soft top to me would be just, I'm sure the Germans are good at it. Doesn't have
that top's long gone, isn't it?
That top's been off that car for 3 years.
Wasn't there a plan to go hybrid in that car?
That is still the plan.
I
have the EV motor for it. I have.
Oh, fuck yeah.
All of the axles built. I have some stuff I'm working on. Basically, as soon as I'm rebuilding the suspension in the 912E right now, so it'll probably never see dirt again because it's going to be super low.
Okay.
And very,
and too
very
nice.
stiff.
Yeah.
But so as soon as that's done, which hopefully that will be this Sunday, I'll be able to get that back on wheels again. It's been on jack stands in my garage for about a month and a half. A lot of that's been waiting on parts, but some of it is me getting pissed at the project and walking away.
That's a solid step. Just be like, you know what? Let's take a moment.
I need a beer. I'm out of here.
Right.
So
that generally involved me spraying PB Blaster and then going to get the beer.
Right. Yes. I'll just soak this and then I'll walk away. And then a week and a half later, it's all dried out and you got to spray it again.
Spray it again.
Start from scratch.
There's another beer then. We're good.
There's always another beer.
But as soon as the suspension is done on that car, it'll go to the shop for corner balancing and a nice alignment. And then that'll be done, quote unquote.
For now.
And then the exhaust and then...
Right. The exhaust will have to be done, but that hopefully will be a one-day in and out project. It'll be a very simple thing. But that car will be mechanically perfect from Sunday, but aesthetically terrible.
Which
I mean,
I'm kind of a big proponent of that. Like the Land Cruiser's paint is the clear's bubbling on a lot of places, and it doesn't look like much, but like it works. Like
this car has a little bit of rust, and eventually it'll need to be taken care of. Right now, it's just kind of like ignore it. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine.
And it's not there. Address it when it has to be addressed.
Yeah. Like there's bubbling in the cowl, and I know that that's not great. It's going to need to be taken care of eventually. There's some rust in the front trunk that it's not structural, but it'll need to be taken care of eventually. And like the paint is awful. It was in a crash probably in the 80s, and it wasn't repaired very well. So it's probably going to need a quarter panel at some point and rockers. And anyway, I bought it for $12,000.
I was
to
say,
the
how long
buy-in
have you
price was
had
good.
it?
4 years.
Okay, so
I
you got it.
for 4
You got it
years.
before the bubble started on 912s.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
I bought it for $12,000. I put, like I said, like 40,000 miles on it. Just rebuilt the motor last fall. I've rebuilt the calipers, the full suspension, and all the wheel bearings and stuff like that. So it's mechanically the only thing that hasn't been rebuilt is the transmission, which I guess I'm going to knock on wood that doesn't blow up, but it shouldn't.
Right.
What
Fingers crossed.
What failed you on the mountain pass? Didn't something you got snowed in?
Oh yes, so that was the windshield wipers.
Oh,
So I was coming back from California. This was in March. I went to Coastal Range Rally. That was the last thing I did before lockdown.
okay.
And I was coming home.
Good last hurrah.
Yeah, and there was a huge snowstorm across the pass. So 80 was closed at Truckee, and I couldn't get to Reno. I was like, well, I guess I'll go south of the lake, and hopefully it'll be better there. It was better, but they have to do avalanche avoidance down there.
Yeah.
So they had to close the highway for 4 hours
Yikes.
to blow a rocket at the mountain, basically. So
Pretty-
I was
pretty
sitting
cool.
there in a car
Sad.
with no heat
Oh,
for 4 hours, and then literally as traffic started moving, the armature in my wiper arm broke,
Oh
and
no.
I no longer had wipers. So it was snowing and I couldn't see. And
yeah, that's
I was
all
like,
bad. That's all bad.
Yeah.
And you're on chains, right? You have to be
I
on
was on
chains to go over
chains,
the,
yeah. So effectively what I pulled over, put the hazards on, took a tree branch so that it wouldn't get hit by the plows, and stuck it in the bumper so that people would know there was a car there, and then hitched a ride into town. And then my wife came up to the mountain on the other side and picked me up and took me home. And then the car got towed because it was on the side of the highway, and I had to pick it up from the tow truck company. So that was a $190 fine. So
Yikes.
it's just the whole thing.
Yeah,
And
spirals.
then I had to have it AAA'd to my house because it was still snowing. So it was a whole. Anyway, that was the last people that I saw was the tow truck company in like mid-March. Yeah, so I have a new armature system for that. So that's going in this weekend as well. Bought it on eBay for like $60. So it was like a $60 fix for something that ended up costing me like 3 days.
Multiple hundreds of dollars.
3 days and $500 later, a $60 piece is fixed.
Yeah.
It's usually how it goes. I mean,
Old cars are the best.
it's the same thing with off-roading. Like a U-joint.
It only broke because all of the snow was so wet that it was like
It was an actual heavy mass.
Yeah. It was hitting itself and like binding up there, so like the armature would hit it at every turn.
Given
And,
also
eventually.
old car, possibly the original part, and even
definitely the original part.
Even new or new-ish sports cars, like they don't design wipers to be as strong as no. I mean, Miata.
Unless it's a
Anyway.
Volvo.
Those aren't
That
sports
car-
cars.
I know,
That
but
car should
Volvo
be
did.
done.
Well, yeah, but like the Miata is reasonably new, and wipers in the winter are just terrible because it just can't keep up. It's just not designed for it.
They didn't expect you to put winter tires on your Miata, Ross.
Nope.
Right.
They should have because it is awesome.
Yeah, I bet it is. That's
It's great.
sports cars in the winter is always the best. I love
It is. You were one of the people that actually kind of like programmed my brain to say, you know what, maybe you don't need all-wheel drive.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was like right around that turning point in the like group mentality. You know, I feel like auto enthusiasts for a long time were like, oh, you're going to drive through the snow and you live like, you know, somewhere where it snows somewhat frequently. You need to buy all-wheel drive like WRX or Evo or something. And then there was a turning point, and everybody's just going.
I need some of that reprogramming because literally everything I have is four-wheel drive.
Seriously.
Light and nimble, especially if you're the only one in it. Like if it's just a commuter, you back and forth to work. Something light and nimble with some snow tires. Oh man, you're gonna have a blast.
It's the best.
Yeah, I wouldn't even go like anything heavier than like EcoBoost Mustang. I wouldn't go anything heavier than that.
Okay.
I mean, not a light car.
Like nothing exists there anymore. But yeah, like 3,000 pounds is like the top.
That's right. I think an EcoBoost Mustang's like 33 or 34, isn't it?
Man, that sucks.
Is that like a GT86?
Yeah, 86 is like 29.
Miata would be great. Yeah,
Miata's very good. Yep.
I think I'm too tall for the Miata in the winter, so
probably.
I'm too tall for the Miata. Yeah. Unless I can have the top down. So yeah,
I have, and then my forehead is like this far above the windshield.
One of the few perks of being short is you fit in all the cars.
Yeah, especially the Japanese ones.
Especially, yeah.
Yeah,
so,
I did go off on a tangent and look at Honda Beats for a while. I was like, these look amazing.
There's one down the street from where I work.
I started doing the math, and I was like, the windshield's gonna be like here. Not.
You look like the dinosaur in the Flintstones.
Yes.
So the 912E should be done this weekend. Then the Boxster will roll in, and then I'll be taking stuff out of the front trunk so that I can fit a Nissan Leaf motor in it.
That's awesome.
So great.
That is awesome.
And a friend of mine has that motor right now. He's working on a custom controller for it so that it makes 210 horsepower.
Strong. Is it going to have regen and everything?
Yeah.
Wow, that's fucking awesome.
So
great.
The battery array is going to sit in the passenger seat. There won't be a passenger seat. There's no top, no windshield. I'm cutting the windshield off. It's going to be
rad. Not Speedster. What would that be?
You should do the like the 60s style like Speedster. Piece of canvas that goes over the passenger seat. Oh, yes.
Definitely have it. I think I'm going to do a hard tonneau, so it'll actually be fiberglass. But yeah, it'll definitely have cover there. And then the door will still open, and that'll be my trunk.
Okay.
The passenger door will be my trunk.
Interesting.
So you'll almost kind of like, well, I guess you wouldn't want to fully enclose it on your side just in case you want to get something out of the trunk.
Right.
Very interesting. That's good. So the axles, what are they like based on an axle and adapted, or are they just totally
fun story?
Yes.
The Boxster, the 986 Boxster, from the driver's seat forward is identical to a 996.
Really?
Yes. They use the same parts.
Oh, I see where this is going.
So Carrera 4, front axles and uprights, hubs, can be bolted into a Boxster, and then you've got axles that go to the middle, and then you just basically you put the motor where it'll fit. You put the motor where it'll fit, and then you take the Leaf axles and you cut them in half, and you take the 911 axles and you cut them in half, and then you weld them together.
Christ.
This is fantastic.
I'm sure that the work is going to be fantastic, but like from afar, it sounds so sketchy.
Well, it probably will be. So a friend of mine has the guy that's actually working on the more power.
More power.
The
Leaf upgrades.
He built a Leaf motor powered DeLorean.
Okay.
And he is using a similar setup. Basically, you use a sleeve and you weld the sleeve to the inside of the axle, and then you put the other axle in the sleeve and you weld the sleeve.
Got it.
So it's not perfect, but like the worst thing that happens is you break an axle. Like
right.
Okay, cool.
Axles are reasonably cheap, all things considered.
Right. And the big thing that you have when you do the cut and splice is the length that you need. So if you break it and you need a stronger one, you just have a custom one made.
So, see that?
Yeah. And then you've got your lengths right, and you've got your ends right. And then you take that whole thing to an axle shop and you go, build me this. And they go,
exactly.
Cool. Done.
Yeah.
Come back and forward.
Yeah, exactly. So, and you can use off-the-shelf CVs, which is the big thing.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So
That
it'll
is pretty
have
cool.
more power on the front axle than it will on the rear.
Oh
Because,
God.
because the stock Boxster flat six was 201 horsepower. So it'll be right around the same for electric front. But the plan is to make it so that I can run either front wheel drive electric or rear wheel drive gasoline or both.
Okay.
So they'll be independent and they won't really care what each one is doing.
Mhm.
And the only way that they'll be connected is at the throttle pedal, so that when you
Great.
put the
Oh,
throttle
man.
on, and then you can
Programming for that.
program the front so that it comes in at like 5 miles an hour or whatever. So you're not just chirping the front tires all the time.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, so is torque steer going to be an issue?
Yeah.
Shouldn't be.
Torque steer on
Shouldn't
a
be? Okay.
was a mid-engine rear
Mid-engine car. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so all together, it should, from this setup, it should basically go to like 410 horsepower.
That's strong.
Yeah.
That's strong.
And all-wheel drive, and it'll be the goal of lightening it as much as I am is to get it lighter than it was stock with
Double the power.
all the extra.
So
Right.
does
So I
this?
pulled out seats and air conditioning and all that kind of stuff, windshield, top, all that, and then hopefully it'll be under 2,500 pounds. The goal is to get it before we start putting any of the batteries and motors and stuff. Get the car under 2,000 pounds, and then only add back in 500. So
is this going to be like your new coastal range car? Like what? Where are you going to like? Where would you
Driving it on the highway with no windshields would be great.
I mean, it's like riding a motorcycle. Just wear a helmet.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
But yeah, I'll probably take it on coastal range once when it's done. But mostly it'll just be a track car.
Okay.
My goal, the stated goal with this car, the idea that I had in my head when I made it was, I want to be able to, like in the 50s when you bought a 356 Speedster, you would drive it to the track, take the windshield off, put X's over the headlights, race it around all day, and then put it all back on and drive home.
Right.
That's awesome.
My goal is to be able to drive to the track on full EV power, race all day, and then drive it home on EV power.
Okay.
So
you're minimizing your footprint a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah.
That would be pretty cool.
It's just proof of concept. I mean, like I will still drive it with the gasoline motor because why wouldn't you? But but yeah, I mean, I want to have that proof of that something like that'll work. And if I can get that to work, I'm going to try to hybrid the 912E. So
would that be the first?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. But it'll be a mild hybrid. It won't actually run on electric power. It'll just be a hybrid electric power adder, basically.
Who's
like
the
an electric supercharger? Kind of.
Who's the brand that is doing that to the 911s?
It starts
currently?
with a V.
Oh, Vonnen. Yeah, I've driven their cars.
Yeah.
It'll be
that's what I was thinking of.
Slightly different than that, but their car is nutty good.
Yeah,
it's so fun.
It looked it and it sounded it.
Yeah, it's so fun, and it's almost ready for prime time. It's like very, very close to perfect. And when they get that figured out, I mean, the problem is so much freaking money. It's a lot.
Oh, wow.
It's like $60,000 on top of a 911.
I think we talked about it on the podcast here because Vonnen
did actually.
Somebody made a rally safari.
Yes,
Vonnen and somebody.
Yep.
And so
it was
like
in Wisconsin.
Kelly.
Wasn't it crazy
Kelly
expensive?
Moss.
Yeah.
Kelly Moss. Okay.
Well, yeah, they built it on a 991 Turbo S, which is a $250,000 car on its own, and then they added $70,000 on top of that. But it torque fills the turbo motor, so like you're just like instant gone.
Always in the power, perfect amount of power.
Yeah. So the idea that I have for the 912E is GM, when they first started doing hybrids, like the View Green Line and stuff like that, they use something called a belted alternator starter. And a BAS hybrid is basically a big alternator that has a very heavy duty belt to your crank. And when you're providing power to the alternator, it's basically forcing the power to the crank. So it's adding in the case of the View Green line, I think it was 12 horsepower and like 45 pounds-feet of torque or something like that. It wasn't a ton, but it would help on like steady state highway cruising, and you would get better fuel economy that way.
I haven't thought about the View Green line in
so there was
12 years, 14 years.
There was a third generation BAS hybrid that was in the Buick LaCrosse, and they're super hard to come by. But if you can get a Buick LaCrosse E-Assist, that was
E-Assist, right.
That was like, I think it was like 45 horsepower and like 90 pound-feet of torque. And if I can add that
big number
to the 912E that makes 88 horsepower stock, that would be great.
That's a huge number.
That's a huge number. Yeah.
I like this mojo of getting more power out of the electric than out of the gas.
Yes.
It's like a, I'm never going to think of it.
That would only run at the same time as the gas motor. You couldn't run it instead of. But that's fine. That's what I want.
912E assist.
Better, exactly. Oh my God, I've got the badge right there.
So you already have the 912E. Adding assist to it.
So yeah, if I could get that project to work, that'd be great. I just need, like, I'm not the guy that can do the controllers,
the coding and the actual like
assist with that. Like I can do fabrication work ish, and I can like kind of figure things out where they go and how to bolt it in and all that stuff. But when it comes to like actually controlling the electric motors, that's where I'm like, I need help.
That's the black magic.
It's totally black magic. It's totally black magic.
Like I can,
but
code
it exists.
just
like
enough.
there are people out there that are smart enough to do it. It's amazing. There are people in the UK that are adapting the CVTs from Priuses, because you can get them at the junkyard for like $80, a whole transmission with the electric motor in it, and those make 110 pound-feet of torque. So you can add that to basically any motor. There's a guy that did a 7 Series BMW with an inline 6 with a CVT from a Prius.
Oh God!
Prius transmission.
Yeah.
But if it's an extra 70 pound-feet,
exactly.
Seriously.
Yeah, you're adding 110 pound-feet to an inline 6. Like, it's already going to have a ton of torque, and that thing just like rips burnouts all day. So
that's pretty funny.
There's
the
some
Land
cool,
Cruiser might need that.
There's some really cool stuff going
It's
on.
in brand.
The E.
How many
hybrid
gears are in that
tuning.
Toyota box?
Yeah, I mean that's another thing that you could, like, the what is it, the Jeep 4xe?
Yeah, 4xe.
That's pretty cool. And like if you could build something like that for your own overlander, off-roader, or whatever.
Oh yeah.
You're getting better fuel economy. You're getting better range. You've got the better torque. You've got, I mean, there's tons of stuff that can be done with this electric if you can figure it out.
Overlanders already throw way too much weight on their trucks, so why not?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Well, that's why
they're going to need the extra power. So.
Exactly. It's just
but
raising one as you raise the other.
But like the 4xe really kind of gets me excited, because like, I've never been a Wrangler guy, but I could maybe be a hybrid Wrangler guy. Like, that could be kind of cool.
I just spent a week with the Wrangler Unlimited Rubicon, and it had the Turbo 4 and the ZF, the 8-speed, and the transmission was awesome, and the engine did like fine on gas mileage, like actually surprisingly well, but it would have been so great if it was silent driving around town.
Yeah.
Because if like that experience of being somewhere and having all of the exposure around you and actually being able to hear it and focus on it instead of, having to like hone in on exactly what the engine's doing, I'm all for it. And electric off-roading seems like it's going to be fucking awesome.
Have you guys heard about Extreme E, the racing series?
Yes.
So what are your, as the resident off-road guys, what is your thought on this racing series?
Clearly we have a lot in both hesitating there.
No, well, it's something we haven't thought about in a long time. I mean, we talked about it on a show months ago, but like, I like watching Formula E, Brad. I'm with you on
Okay, cool.
on how
I love Formula E. It's my favorite race.
I regret not having gone to the one they did in New York City down in
because at least in
They're
Formula
Queens.
E, I know Mercedes isn't going to win every single one walking away. Like I know, like
Sure.
I need some. Like Ross can get really into the midfield battle of Formula One. I'm
all
bored
about it.
watching Formula One all the time. I
Yeah.
kind of was like, let's go Haas, and then the rich energy stuff, which
Folded isn't even the right word for it. It's just
I gotta pull out. I
Nice.
didn't even as soon as I saw it in the shop, I was like, well, I'm buying that for $15. Who cares?
100%.
Mainly because the money was going to Haas and not Rich Energy, I hope. I'm good with electric racing and electric off-road racing. Just why not? Like,
So if it's somewhere between a Formula E and a Stadium Super Trucks, and it kind of matches them in the middle, I think it's going to be awesome. Like,
Yeah.
So-
I mean, I like the idea of it, and from what I've seen, like the onboard camera stuff they did, and they did like Ken Block did a few laps in it, and like did a special stage in the Dakar in that vehicle, the Extreme E.
Yep. The
From what
Bowler
I've seen-
Wildcat with winky eyelids. Yeah.
I think they look like the Peugeot stuff that they run in Dakar, kind of.
Kinda, yeah.
Kind of bug-like almost. Not
Kinda.
not a Volkswagen bug, but an actual insect.
Oh, what's that crazy LS powered off road truck that they were
The
making? out
Rally
of
Fighter?
Vegas? Rally Fighter. That's what it looks like.
It does kind of look like one of those. Yeah, I agree. From what I've seen, I think it'll be fun. It'll probably, just like Formula E, it'll probably take a couple of seasons for like the newness to be less weird.
Work out the quirks.
They'll have to work the bugs out and get it kind of cool. But I'm kind of interested, and I'm really looking forward to seeing who is going to be driving them. Because right now they've only named like 2 or 3 drivers, and it's like, okay, yeah, that's interesting, but who's the rest of the grid?
Right.
So I clicked on the race format tab, and the format makes sense to me. Like there's 2 qualifying races on Saturday. I think if you advance high enough in those, you go to the 2 semifinals on Sunday, and then after those 2 semifinals, you have a final. Each race is 2 laps.
Oh, special. Oh, sure.
And one has to be driven by the female driver, and one has to be driven by the male driver. Is what the website
Really?
says.
So it's
Yeah.
one car?
Wow.
Oh, I thought it
That's-
was. Oh,
That's
interesting.
great. I'm all about that.
So you got to have a team of drivers. It sounds like. And
Yeah. Okay. So I knew that they had to have 2 drivers, but I thought they were going to be fielding a car for each driver. But I didn't know that they were doing trades. That's interesting.
Wow. It would be awesome. How funny would it be if they had to co-drive for each other?
That'd be fantastic.
Okay. All right.
If we're going down, we're going down.
I just saw one of the more funny online videos the other day. It was some poor guy just yelling at Samir the whole time. You're breaking the car,
Yes.
Samir. Pay attention.
Yes.
That's a very good video.
That's a classic one.
It came back up the other day. So the point systems are, oh man, there's 4 cars in each
Convoluted.
race. Yeah. 4 cars in each race. Choice of track starting position for semifinals is based on points from the qualifying rounds. First 3 finishing teams in semifinal 1 and the winning driver from semifinal 2 get the final.
Everything's made up and the points don't matter.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So it said semifinal 2 in quotes was the crazy race. I think it's because in semifinal 1, the top 3 advance, and in semifinal 2, only the winner advances. So that's everybody go.
So
It's
that's
gonna be-
that's your wild card. That's your
Yep.
LCQ.
It's going to be like
Okay.
rallycross where everybody's just beating off each other's doors
Yeah.
trying to get
Diving
ahead.
into each other. Yeah, that'll be good.
Okay.
I don't know.
Cool. I dig it.
Hey, if it helps expand electric, for more wide distribution and usage, then so be it, and that's great.
Yeah, I think that I think there's a lot to be said for electric racing, and I think like I keep harping on this, but like EV hot rodding is totally my jam. I mean, obviously, but like
You don't say.
But like just last week, there was a new EV speed record at Bonneville.
Yeah, the EV
Really?
West guys.
EV West,
of course.
yeah, of course. EV West built a streamliner powered by a Tesla motor with hot swappable batteries. Like they could go back to the pits, lift the batteries out, and then put new batteries in.
Run in and just keep going at it.
Does that
And
mean
then
they hired weightlifters just to sit there and hot swap batteries? Like,
and then
What did they run?
they charged it all with solar. So when they weren't
that's the
running, they
best.
had a big solar array out there on the salt flats, and they were charging it. I was like,
Mhm.
that's awesome. But it just had a big Tesla motor in the back, and they ran 240 miles an hour.
Whoa!
dude, that was
Yeah.
impressive.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's nowhere near. I mean,
Self-sustainable 240 too, which is
a gas car ran 470, I think,
Mhm.
the next day. So it's not like, you know, it's not breaking world records, but it's still pretty cool. So yeah,
It is.
and the previous record I think was like 210 or something, 211 or something like that. So they
They
broke the
crushed it.
record, and
I love that I'm reading your article to get background right now. And you updated it.
Yep, they broke the record on what was it, Wednesday, and then Thursday they backed it up.
Hmm.
You have to do a backup run, in order for it to
verification run.
be
Yeah.
Right.
official. And then on Friday they turned up the wick, and they went 240 and
Yeah.
broke their own record from the previous day.
Wow, good for them. They were the first ones I remember seeing doing anything with adding electric to a gas engine
Yep.
vehicle.
So they went 16 mile an hour faster with the Thursday run getting average to 229. But like,
Yeah.
once you're over 200, incremental increases are a
Absolutely.
lot harder to get. Like 60 miles an hour is huge.
So
Mhm.
what they said they were doing was they put it at about 50% power to run, because they had to do a qualification run. So you have to prove to the SCTA that you can go that fast safely. So they had to do a run that was under 175 on the short course.
Mhm.
And then they were able to go to the big course. So the first run they did that day was like a little bit under the record. It was like 201 or something like that. So they were at like 50% power. They ran 201. They came back in. They swapped batteries. They cranked it up just a little bit, like 53%, and broke the record. And then, but yeah, so getting from that 218 or whatever it was that they ran on Wednesday to that 240 that they ran on Friday was cranking it from 53 to 100.
Jeez.
So like
Yeah.
to get that extra 30
It's
horsepower,
exponential.
they needed, or 30
30
miles
per
an hour,
hour.
they needed double the horsepower.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Exponential intensity. That's crazy.
So
I wonder, like, they had to program for like wheel spin. Like,
yes. So they
Yeah,
aren't
push
telling
start?
anyone any of that stuff.
they're not.
Any of the programming, they're like, that's all
Hmm.
proprietary. We're going to keep that under our hat.
You
But
got to
yeah,
pay
it's-
to find out.
Yeah. It's very like,
I'll happily sell you the code.
right. So yeah, they developed a traction control system specifically for salt. But yeah, it was, and the cool thing about it was they built it in 3 months.
Yeah,
Oh,
From
wow.
start to finish was 3 months.
because they're still a regular company that has to
Yeah.
do work.
Seriously.
Like,
I guess if you can repurpose your SEMA efforts into something else, then
Yeah.
why not go for it?
And they said they'll be back next year, and they might be going for the overall electric record,
Hmm.
which I think is 3 something.
wow,
It's insane.
it's not slow.
Not slow. So on a completely different note, once upon a time, and I don't know if you still have it, but you had a pretty rallyified Audi.
The Audi, I do still have the Audi.
I
Yeah,
volunteered a couple times to take it off your hands. I just can't afford to buy it from you.
I could be talked into a payment program.
So what's the story? It's like
It's
an early
a
90s.
95 Audi
Oh.
S6 sedan. It's the inline 5 turbo,
Mhm.
5-speed manual, quattro all-wheel drive. And I put God, 40, 50,000 miles on that car in 4 or 5 years.
Muting.
And it was so good. It was such a good car that it was a little boring.
Yeah.
It was too good.
It was too good.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a great daily driver, and it was just lowered a little bit. It had the right set of wheels. It was, it's got a little more power than stock. It's got an exhaust and a chip tune and
I need.
not much else. Big brake kit, couple other things, but it sounded good. It looked good. It was clean. And then someone hit it in a parking lot and cracked the bumper. And it was pearl white, which is impossible to match. And not only that, but that bumper, the S6 specific bumper, is like a $3,000 bumper.
As much as the car.
Yeah, the car's worth $4 or $5 grand maybe.
Right.
So like a set of S6 plus bumpers imported from Europe would have been like, why am I even doing this? Mm-hmm. So I zip tied the bumper back together and was like, well, we're going full, messed up, crazy off-road vehicle. So I got some A6, some V6 A6 springs.
Okay.
And lifted it. So the stock V6 A6 was an inch higher than the S6, and then my S6 was an inch lowered.
Mm-hmm.
So I put that was a 2-inch lift just with the springs.
Oh man.
Then I did a 1-inch Delrin spacer on the front and a 1.5 inch welded metal shackle for the bottom of the rear suspension to lift it another 1 to 1.5 inches. Mm-hmm. And then I went to a huge tire.
Unnecessarily so, right?
Unnecessarily so,
yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Like how much can I fit without rubbing?
It's the smallest 18-inch BFG KO2 that they made.
That's a lot of tire.
It's a lot of tire.
Yeah.
It's a lot of tire. So that lifted it another 4.5 inches.
Oh my God.
So pictures of it in the dirt, it doesn't look overly lifted. It just looks like it belongs there. But when you see pictures on the pavement, you're like, okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Can you send pictures? Because I need a reference point again. I forgot about this thing and now I need to see it.
Look for, if you're on Instagram, look for Overland Adventure Sedan, hashtag Overland Adventure Sedan. That's what I called it for a while.
It's a short hashtag.
Yes. It's got to be unique, but it has more ground clearance at the lowest point than the new Bronco.
Oh, that's insane. That is actually genuinely wild.
More ground clearance at its lowest point than the brand new Bronco.
Than the brand new Bronco.
So you have a foot of ground clearance?
Yes. 11.5 inches of ground clearance on that.
Oh, it's like comical. Yeah, I found pictures of it.
Very, very, very tall.
It looks like it would be comfy on the street and off-road, it would make some noises.
It does make some noises. It creaks. It creaks and rattles quite a bit, which it kind of did before because it needs new bushings pretty much everywhere. Mm-hmm. But so the problem was I needed to clearance some things. So I had to cut at the front and the rear of both of the wheel openings. So I had to cut into the unibody basically, which not ideal, but it's not like, it's still structural. Yeah. It's fine. And yeah, you can actually see the Delrin spacers and the shackles on Instagram as well. But yeah, so it's a weird thing because the problem is that it has sway bars in the front that locate the lower control arm. So the lower control arm can only go so low. Mm-hmm. You can't take the control arm, or you can't take the sway bar off because then you lose your front to rear location.
Right. The actual like rigidity is just
exactly. It would just flop around, and then the spring would fly out, and everyone would die. So
One way to go.
that's part of the problem. In order to make this good, I would need custom lower control arms all the way around, which is, again, I didn't want to pay money for the bumper, so it's going to be a lot of money to do something like that. But the idea was that it should have like a full off-road suspension, full coilovers, and a full like brush bar, and do the whole 9, and then
whole quote unquote safari look.
Yeah. And then I drove it a couple of times. There's a few things that are wrong with it, and it's just kind of sat. It still drives, it still runs. I still occasionally will take it, to the store or whatever, but it's not as fun to drive anymore. So
yeah,
I think I may try to look for a smaller wheel and tire package, or just go back to being a lowered sedan again.
End up lowering it and putting all the brush guard stuff on.
Well, I think if I lower it, because I've cut the fender openings out, I would probably do box flares.
Okay.
And just slam it and make
like
it like
DTM style. That'd be cool.
Like a sports sedan at that point. It was fun while I did it. Like, I really enjoyed doing the project, and I felt a huge sense of accomplishment when it was finished. But I think it looks totally rad.
Absolutely.
But it's just not what I wanted, and I'm a little upset about it.
Yeah. I mean, at least you realized.
Yeah. After I did it. But
fair. That's fair.
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel bad getting rid of it because it's such a good car. Like, the engine is great. It drives so well. The interior is still really nice. It did drive so well. It doesn't anymore.
Past tense. Refer to it as past.
But then the other side of me is like, well, why don't I just go whole hog and take it to an off-road shop and say, whatever it takes.
Yeah, if it already rides like shit, I mean, what's even more shit on top of shit?
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, I think with a good suspension setup that is meant for off-roading, like some, good long travel suspension and a good, well-designed lower control arm and all of that, if it had that, it would probably be a lot of fun, and I would probably take it in the desert all the time.
Hey, all it takes is time and money.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, I have 3 other projects that I'm working on.
Right, 3 other unfinished projects.
So, yeah, unfortunately, this kind of got kicked to the back burner. It's cool. It's just not done.
Yeah.
It's just not done.
It's definitely cool,
I drove it.
Repurposed.
I drove it on the highway. I drove it to Vegas, and I drove it to NorCal and back. I did like a 900-mile road trip in it. It drives fine. It gets actually better fuel economy now than it did before because you're not in boost at highway speeds.
Oh, that's funny. Just basically geared it down.
Yeah. Yep. So, yeah. Steering is good. It doesn't quite get as much geometry as it had before, steering angle. So you get some tire rub on the inside of the wheel wells, but that's kind of to be expected when you go to that big of a tire.
Oh yeah, on something like that, absolutely.
Yeah.
If it didn't rub, you'd kind of wonder like what they left on the table.
So
sorry,
it looks so, like, even in these photos, like looking at it again on Instagram, it looks so freaking cool.
It does. It looks fantastic.
It really does. I mean, lifted cars are always cool. Just saying.
Yeah. But I've done some like Safari Porsche stuff before, and I've driven those kinds of cars, and they're always a riot, especially when you get like the weight transfer just right, and you can really swing it around in the desert and stuff. Like, that's a ton of fun. So I don't know. Maybe one day this will be rally ready.
That's why I need to get closer to the desert, because
dude, the desert is awesome.
Like, people, so like, I'm part of like off-road overlanding groups on social media stuff for being in Kansas, and they're always like, all right, what trails? We're like, there's no trails, man. It's a state of gravel roads. Like we have 9% public land. Those are state fishing lakes. Like
We
there
have like
is
85% public land.
Yeah,
Right,
that's crazy.
like-
I don't.
like
I could
just
literally the freezing's in. So
There we go. It was bound out.
So I could literally go like to the end of my road, and there would be 150 acres of BLM land.
0.27% of Connecticut is public land. Fuck this state.
Not really.
dude, my 9% is all of Connecticut.
Of the three of us, I'm using mine the least.
By percentage.
Yeah, by percentage, yeah.
That's
Oh,
funny.
and the thing that I drove to go see the other day, like they're chalk piles of rocks in Western Kansas. It's on private land. Like,
Yeah.
if people mess them up too much, those people are just going to close it down. Like,
Yeah.
Mhm. So what else? What else can we discuss? I'm running out of steam. Not gonna lie, my brain is shot.
Yeah, it's
You're
late
good,
where
Dubs.
you are.
It's been a week. I feel like I say that every week.
Dude,
but
it's been a month. It's been a year.
It's been a
Like,
year. Seriously.
since the beginning of 2020.
Seriously.
Cannot blame you there.
So okay, so Brad, so what are your favorite 4x4s and off-road trucks you've seen at the Radwood shows?
Because it wasn't my Land Cruiser.
If it had made it, maybe.
No, it's still not good enough. Like,
Okay.
right. So, Ross, I'm not going to change it too long. I promise.
Do it. Just do it.
Like the first couple of shows, I was like, yes, I could definitely go. But then like amazing right-hand drive stuff started showing up. And I was like, all right, then I'm just the guy who has one. Like,
Yeah, but I mean, being there is part of the fun, though.
That's true.
I mean, even if you don't have something that's going to win, like I don't try to emphasize winning because I mean, we only have like 5 trophies and we have shows with 600 cars.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
like,
Most
yeah,
people
don't-
aren't winning.
Crazy.
probably not going to win.
Yeah.
but,
Almost nobody does.
Yeah, by percentage, it's a very small, less than 1% of people win.
Well played.
So, yeah, I think that there's definitely value to going and being part of it. Like people ask me all the time, well, I don't have a car that, is perfect or whatever. It's like, dude, just bring it. I promise it'll be more fun if you bring your car and you can talk to other people about your car and you can show other people your car. Like that is part of the fun.
Mhm.
Don't worry about winning. Just worry about coming, hanging out, having a good time with other like-minded people, and it'll be a blast. I promise.
See cool shit.
See,
Like,
Russ,
should I bring my, 1997 Camry? Yeah, do it for sure.
I think my favorite one, Ross, isn't even an actual 4x4.
It is.
It's not.
What is it?
It's the Lexus LS 400 on the KO2s with
yes.
the Ivan Stewart
yeah.
style
Yeah.
paint scheme. Like,
And they go like she takes that thing off road, hardcore.
Always
That thing
dirty.
That thing was sweet.
That thing is great. It's the only thing that I've seen that would be better is the Pajero Evolution. Pajero, whatever it is.
you can say whatever
Yeah,
you want. We're in
Pajero,
America.
It's fucking awesome. And
Yeah, that
Like-
thing was cool, and it was towing an Evo 5.
4 or 5, whatever it is, that's like, oh man,
Yeah,
it's like
The
childhood
Jalicos-
dreams right there.
It looks like there was a 70s style, or I'm going to say 70s style, 70s series fire truck at one of the Austin shows.
yes, yep. That was at Atlanta, I think.
Atlanta. Okay.
Yeah, a couple of years ago. That was really cool. Really, there was God, I don't remember whose it was, but at Atlanta there was another Land Cruiser there.
Cruiser.
That sorry, brain.
All good.
You're fine.
There's a Land Cruiser there that had the most JDM wheels I've ever seen, and each spoke of the wheel was a different mountain.
Oh my
What?
god, that's the coolest thing ever.
Like it said like Kilimanjaro and Everest and whatever, and like each spoke of the wheel, and then it was a very Japanese like mistranslated phrase around the rim of the wheel, and it was like
Mhm.
off-roading King's monster like whatever wheel tire package, and yeah, it was super cool. Fuji,
Oh, I have to find that.
Kilimanjaro.
I don't even know
Try-
what to look up.
I'm trying to Google search it and totally letting me down.
I will see if I can find it, and I'll try and figure out where it was. But
Please do.
but it
Please
was-
share that with us afterwards.
It was an
'cause
extremely cool off-road wheel from Japan. That was like, I think it was an Enki, maybe.
Land Cruiser, Enki, JDM wheels. I don't know. Whatever that is, I want them. I don't even want. I don't want them on anything. I just want them like on a wall somewhere.
And it was a turbocharged.
Diesel.
I think it was the 80 series. Was that too new for Radwood?
No, 80
Yeah,
series.
that's what Chris says.
That's 90
Late 90s.
91 to
Late
97.
90s.
Oh, or okay, early to mid 90s. Okay.
Yep.
Mhm.
I think it was one of those.
Okay.
And I think it was a JDM right-hand drive turbocharged something.
Like the 3-liter diesel.
Diesel.
Or something like that. Yeah.
But I remember it said turbo, and it had like the what do you call that? Like opaque plastic like bill across the front of the windshield, at the top of the windshield.
Oh yeah.
It had like a rain guard or whatever
Really?
on top of it, and then there was like on all 4 of the windows there was like the smoker.
The crazy,
over the top
and they're
Yeah,
huge
yeah.
because they're the Japanese ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it was very JDM. It was very cool. I'll see if I can dig it out, and I'll send it to you guys if I can. But,
Please do. That sounds amazing. It's like dreams.
but there have been some really cool stuff. There was like there was a perfect replica of the Toyota from Back to the Future with the KC highlighter.
Yep. Probably the most famous 4x4 of all time.
Probably, yeah. We've had a couple of those. There was a couple of like, I'm trying to think if there was anything that was like really, really cool.
Did
LA,
Acura
there
bring
was-
that SLX? Did they bring it?
They did.
Yeah,
right?
they did. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that was at LA 2019.
That one was
thing
good.
was very cool.
That was good.
Extremely well done. If you didn't know what you were looking at, you wouldn't know what you were looking at.
Great. Yeah, it's
Like,
awesome.
it was a what the heck SUV was it that they pulled that? It was a turbocharged 4 and super handling all-wheel drive system
It was
out of
a
a
RDX?
modern, I think.
It was
What's the
an
smaller one?
SLX. RDX is the
RDX,
smaller
yeah.
one.
Okay. It was probably that.
I wonder if you could even find an SLX for sale in the country right now.
Yeah, because MDX is the bigger one, right?
Right. It is, yeah.
I just saw
So-
an SLX in a parking lot the other day and was like,
Really?
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's for like if you want to sell, like put a
Yeah. So yeah, they took the running gear and drivetrain from an RDX and put it into an SLX and painted it the modern red with a 2-tone like tan on the bottom.
Yep.
And then they did 1552 wheels, but they were machine finish, so they looked like OEM wheels. It was very, very, very cool. So, and then they did little badges that said Radwood on the back. And it was like,
right.
Did they really?
Yeah, they did
they
a good
went
job with that.
all out. I mean, the people that built that car are the people who engineer Acura's Pikes Peak program.
Okay.
Oh,
So, and the people who engineer Acura's Pikes Peak program are the people who engineer Acura's.
mhm.
So, like, it's just like their NVH designer and their, brake system management guy and their chassis guy. And they all, like, on nights and weekends work on their race cars to take to Pikes Peak.
Right.
So,
Side projects that actually like keep them going.
yeah. And they're running
That's awesome.
like 3rd overall
Yeah.
this year with a super tuned NSX that's like, yeah.
Yes.
Very cool.
It's very cool.
I'd like a go.
I'm into it. Same.
Sweet.
So on that note,
Thanks for coming on, Brad.
yeah, Brad, thank you.
You know what? It's my pleasure.
Say, we're almost physically, it's like we're the most people you've seen in a while, right?
Yeah. I've been on a few podcasts, but this one is definitely one of them.
Hey, we'll take it. Just returning the favor years later, right?
No, I really enjoy spending time with you guys. Thank you for having me and allowing me to talk about my dumb stuff for a while.
Dude, your projects
Hey.
sound awesome. Like they are
They're-
not.
They sound awesome. They sound
Yeah.
awesome now. If any of them would actually be done, that'd be great.
I say they sound awesome because I'm not funding any of them.
Exactly. I had to sell a house
Fair
to
enough.
fund them, so no, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Where
we
the
talked
hell
about that
did we
here
go?
too.
Shit. Yeah, we have.
So,
read Brad's stuff.
Jalopnik.com.
Yep, jalopnik.com. I run the site from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern. So technically I'm running the site right now, but don't tell anyone.
It's just multitasking. It's casual.
I'm not
This co-
multitasking very
The
well.
show comes out at 5 a.m. They're not
Just
going to know.
tasking. Yeah, no.
And then I am editor-in-chief of flat6s.com. So if you care about Porsches, we occasionally do some stuff on on Safari Porsches. So there might be some crossover there.
The one I'm starting to see more, it's not a flat six, obviously, but we're starting to see more Cayennes built for.
A lot of them.
Yeah.
A lot of
Yeah.
them.
There's
Not just Joey's amazing ones, but I've seen a couple since then.
Yeah, his stuff is gnarly. He goes next level on everything he does.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah. And then radwood.org, buy some merch, keep us alive while we can't do shows right now. That'd be great. We'd appreciate it.
We look forward to them returning.
I need to get a
very
hat.
much look forward to them returning. I haven't, it's so weird to go from 2019 where I did 36,000 miles on the road to 2020 where I did one show and that's it.
Yeah, that's
Normally I'm gone for the entire month of August. And this year I'm just kind of chilling at home playing video games.
Waiting on car parts.
Working on car parts,
making
ordering
projects.
stuff from Pelican Parts. Just
Where'd you get the Leaf
World.
engine from? Or the Leaf motor, I
bought
apologize.
yeah, it is a motor. It is
Motor.
a motor.
Good
I
catch.
bought it from a junkyard.
Okay.
It was just from one that had been crashed, and it had something like 30,000 miles on it. And
Which-
it was the upgraded motor from not 19 but 17. They did
Okay.
a modernized version. So it's got a little more power and it's a little more reliable and it's easier to tune and stuff like that. So,
Sweet.
And then batteries I don't have yet, but we're going to work on that. As soon as the motor and stuff is in and it's back down on wheels, then we can start figuring out where batteries fit. Probably put some of them in the back trunk to offset the weight in the front and then put some of them in the passenger side.
Legos. Just like Legos.
Yeah.
Yeah, cars are adult
Consequential
Legos.
Legos.
Cars are
Cars
adult
are pretty
Legos.
much Legos, yeah.
Some more so than others.
Also, it
Yeah.
hurts to step on their parts in the
Exactly.
middle of the night with no
Stop.
shoes on.
Not
Stop
wrong.
working in flip flops.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I will never do that. I always work in flip flops.
You and Freiburger.
Yeah, flip flops and
Yeah.
death wheel. That's what I subscribe to that for sure.
Sweet,
You never
man.
know when you got to give yourself a pedicure by cutting off one of your toes.
Pretty easy to do if you're holding your toe in your hand.
Say I stopped working in flip flops when I dropped the tire iron on my foot, and I was like, all right, man.
Ooh. Yeah.
Rotating
I was,
tires on the Forerunner.
I had an aluminum piece that I had to drill a bigger hole in, and I got a piece of the shaving in between my flip flop and my foot.
Oh,
That hurt
Oh boy.
really bad.
Was it hot when you stepped on it?
It was not hot, thankfully,
Ooh,
but it was
that
very
would've
sharp.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right. Well,
Yeah.
thanks guys for having me.
Thanks,
for
Brad.
I'm gonna go
on.
have some dinner.
Enjoy.
But I've had a lovely time talking. And,
Ross is going to
if you ever
bed,
want me
too.
back,
Yeah. Brad, you're welcome anytime. Tell
Well,
us stories.
we definitely got to come see this hybrid Boxer. So
For
Maybe
sure.
we'll go play in the desert.
Give it a couple years.
At this rate, we're really not going far anytime soon.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Sweet.
So,
Cool,
Thanks,
guys.
man.
all right, cool. Thanks,
Thank
Brad.
you.